Rob and Slim Show.
Rob and Slim Show.
Hey, this is Willis Morgan.
Willis Morgan.
Frustrated Witness.
How you doing, Frustrated Witness?
Good.
You're a retired reporter of the Miami Herald, correct?
Half of that is correct. The retirement part is correct. I wasn't a reporter. I worked for the Herald in production department in the press room.
Okay.
Printing.
Okay. So I was just from that, you're a reputable person, and your book is Frustrated Witness. And did you witness Adam Walsh being abducted?
Well, no, I'm not one of the witnesses that actually witnessed the abduction. But I'm one of the witnesses because I was in that mall the day he was abducted, and I had an encounter with the person that abducted him just minutes before he was abducted.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. So
yeah,
what?
He came up to me first before he actually saw him walking into the toy department.
Who did, Adam?
No, the person that abducted him.
Oh.
Was he trying to abduct you?
Well, I don't know that he was trying to abduct me, but he was certainly trying to start a conversation with me.
Okay.
And
why?
How did the interaction go?
It went bad. That's why I was watching him. I knew somebody was going to be in trouble, and that's why I was watching him, and I watched him walk into the toy department, but never in 1981 did I think a 6-year-old kid would be in trouble. And my thinking was, when he didn't come back out of the toy department, that he was playing the video games himself, and then I was thinking that he's going to come back out my way, because the toy department was at the end of Sears. So I didn't want another encounter, so I just left and went home. It was that evening I heard about an abduction at that mall, and then they said the time, and I knew it had to be that guy that I had that encounter with, because that encounter was so bizarre.
Did you know who he was when you saw him, or did it...
Not when I saw him, but 10 years later when he was captured for brutal crimes that he committed up in Milwaukee. And I recognized him instantly because I worked for a newspaper, and we were doing newspaper check in the press room, and when we were checking the papers off of 6 presses, and there was a story, an article about this guy up in Milwaukee, and then I instantly recognized him then. And
that was Jeffrey Dahmer, correct?
It was Jeffrey Dahmer, right, when he was captured. This was in 1991, 10 years, almost to the week.
I'm just fascinated by this interaction you had with him. Can you kind of explain like what this conversation was, or what like hinted you off that there was something wrong here?
Well, it's just the way he was standing over me. I was in Radio Shack in the same mall, and he came into Radio Shack and he kept trying to start a conversation with me, and it was just so bizarre because
awkward.
More than the conversation was just the way he looked, and that dead dull look in his eyes while he was smiling at me. I mean, it was just very strange.
You felt like, yeah, I guess what you're saying is you kind of felt he was like forcing himself on you, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, and it was very. He finally turned around because I wouldn't converse with him. I didn't want to talk to him because my thinking was, you say anything to him that would initiate a conversation, and I didn't want a conversation with this guy. So I didn't really say anything to him. It was him trying to talk to me.
Yeah, I can't say that. I can't stand when somebody tries to talk to you. Like, I'm the same way. Just, don't make eye contact. Just
exactly.
Keep going.
Exactly.
Keep going.
Yeah, I broke eye contact with him because my thinking was if I break eye contact, he'll just leave. But he didn't. He came actually into the Radio Shack, and he came up to me, and he continued trying to start a conversation.
Wow.
But anyway, I actually, when he stomped out of the Radio Shack, I saw him actually walking into the mall, deep into the mall, turn into Sears, and I was watching him, and I actually saw him turn into the toy department and walk into the toy department.
Oh.
And I just didn't go any further. And I've always felt bad because other witnesses that actually witnessed the abduction, one witness said they almost intervened, but then decided not to because they thought maybe that was an older brother.
That's what I was wondering. Did it seem like did it seem like a violent abduction, or did it seem just like a regular interaction?
No, it was very violent. According to the other witnesses, it was very violent. One witness in the parking lot saw him tossing Adam into a blue van like a sack of potatoes. That's his words.
Oh.
So, but he thought maybe that. He thought it was a rambunctious kid that just didn't want to leave the toy department.
Oh yeah,
and so
I've seen kids causing a scene just with their parents in parking lots of department stores all the time. Like, and
right.
you do see that. So you don't know sometimes. You don't know what is going on.
Right. Well, another witness went into the Sears and he turned around and started walking backwards because this guy that just passed him had this kid, and he was manhandling him as he walked out the exit. And the kid was screaming, "You're not my daddy! You're not my daddy!" And the guy was just saying, I'm taking you to your daddy." And he was looking at this because he had a kid the same age. He was thinking he wouldn't handle his kid that way. And so he went to the service desk. Then he had second thoughts, ran back outside, and the kid and the blue van and the guy were all gone. And his thinking was that he didn't intervene right away because he was thinking, well, maybe that's a stepfather.
That's the thing, exactly, or an uncle or anything.
Right.
Wow.
And another witness, Mia, I sent you some information on Mia. I don't know if you listened to the radio show she did.
I didn't check it out, but I saw that you sent that.
Right, well, you should have checked that out because she's a witness there. She was there 2 days in a row. Dahmer was there on Sunday, the day before Adam was abducted, and he tried to abduct her brother. So,
oh, wow.
She was there also the day Adam was abducted and actually saw Jeffrey Dahmer walk out with Adam out the door. So, so she's another witness there that saw the abduction. And her brother, at the time Adam was being abducted, just before he was abducted, I should say, asked his mom, because they were there with their mother, if he could stay a little longer, because her mother wanted to get ready to leave. And she says, "I know his dad is here now." And she says it was Jeffrey Dahmer leaning over Adam, talking to him.
Wow.
And taking him by the hand and leaving. That's why I was saying you should get her on this show. She's very good. Listen to the radio show she did.
Yeah.
And then maybe you might want to get her on down the road. And maybe other witnesses too, because 2 weeks before Adam was abducted, there was another attempted abduction in a Sears on a Monday in another mall. It was an anchor to another mall. It was 60 miles north of the Hollywood Mall. And it was an incident exactly similar to the Adam Walsh case where a mother went to the mall with her son. She left her son in the toy department and was shopping just aisles away when Dahmer came into that toy department and tried to abduct him.
Have you ever had...
On July 13th. That was July 13th. Adam was abducted on July 27th.
Have you ever had contact with John Walsh?
No, I've tried. My attorney sent him copies of my book, but he's never returned calls or anything. The problem is, like the Stockholm Syndrome,
yeah.
John Walsh now considers the Hollywood Police Department, after they closed the case, to be his best friend and one of the detectives that got the case closed. And this is the detective that pinned the murder on an innocent man.
Otis, what's his name? Otis Toole.
Otis Toole. Otis Toole had nothing to do with this murder.
But didn't he, admit it on his deathbed? Otis was...
No, that's this detective that made that up.
Wow.
Totally fabricated that. See, if you would ever get a chance to read my book, the witnesses that he claimed said that, I have their interviews where they were astonished by the fact that John Walsh was on his show once on America's Most Wanted claiming that Otis Toole made a deathbed confession. He says that's just not so.
Wow.
Nobody at that infirmary, I believe it was the Lake Butler Infirmary where he passed away, says that he ever talked to anybody. And that niece that he's talking about, that Matthews claims he confessed on a deathbed confession to, her last time she visited her uncle was 9 months before he passed away. So, that's not a deathbed confession.
That's not a deathbed.
Anyway.
No. Absolutely not. Wow.
And he never said anything about it to her either. So he just makes these things up.
Yeah.
It's totally fabricated. And in fact, if you listen to one podcast where he just did a radio show a couple weeks ago, he claimed that Otis Toole ate Adam.
Ate him, you said?
Yes, he ate Adam, according to this detective. And you can listen to him actually say it. It's on my website, okay? Convicting the Innocent page. Click on that, go to the bottom of the page, and I have the radio show where you can listen to him talk about how Otis ate Adam.
Oh, wow.
That's the same detective. Now, listen, what happened was in 1987, this is one of the detectives that was on the case since its inception. In 1987, he heard John Walsh became the host of America's Most Wanted, so he called John Walsh.
Yes.
And John Walsh ended up hiring this detective on the show as the senior lead investigator. So for years, John Walsh had one of these bumbling, stumbling detectives on right in his midst, feeding him false information about his own son's abduction for years. And now John Walsh considers him to be his best friend and colleague.
Wow. Wow.
So John Walsh won't listen to anybody but this detective, and this detective, they've been lying to him for years.
I saw too. I saw that in your book it says you cover Dahmer's military service and his living in Hollywood, Florida, for 6 months, which I guess
Well, he
other
lives
books.
in Sunny Isles, which is about 8 miles away from Hollywood.
But yes, a lot of other sources have not covered. Have you uncovered anything about Dahmer that they never did previously?
Well, there's a lot of things there. Yeah, we have a police report with his name all over it. You know, I mean, he was a witness to a murder, you know, but that's in 1981 he was a witness because they didn't know who he was. If they knew, they would have realized he was the murderer,
He
not
was
the
the
witness.
murderer.
Right, he wasn't the witness. Wow.
And this is in the store right behind where he works. That, yeah, if you see the front cover of my book, that's the meter room where he murdered Adam also. Wow. There's the blood spatter on the back wall. They did a TV show about it, but the police refused to investigate. The Hollywood, this is a blood spatter that's been described as one of the best CSI experts in the country as being indicative of a high-velocity homicidal pattern. And yet the Hollywood Police Department and the Miami Police Department as well refuses to investigate. The Hollywood Police Department says that two pit bulls could have got into that room and caused that blood spatter. And the Miami Police Department, their lead homicide investigator over there, told me that he thinks a bird flew into the wall.
Wow. Why are they turning a blind eye like that? Like, why would
Because
they?
there's a reason for it. Because remember, I just told you about other attempted homicides, and abductions. I mean,
Yes.
like in the Twin City Mall.
Yes.
Okay, the description, the blue van, and the composite all match the Hollywood Mall. But yet, the Hollywood Police Department dismissed it. Not only that one, but 5 other attempted abductions. They were dismissing everything as being related to the Adam Walsh case because their chief primary suspect at that time was John Walsh's house guest, James Campbell. And they were so zeroed on him, they were dismissing everything. So in 1991, when I went back to them, as I told you, what I did was I called the Miami Herald Library up. It's not really a library, it's a storage room because back then they didn't have computers, so they stored hard copies of all the papers, the newspapers.
Yes.
Right, and so I asked the library if they could send me a copy of the composite from the Adam Walsh case. What they did, they sent it to me in my in-house mailbox in the press room. But I didn't realize, I went back to the Hollywood Police Department. I brought the newspaper with me with the mugshot of this guy that got captured up in Milwaukee along with that composite, not realizing the library sent me the wrong composite. They sent me one from the Twin City Mall. And I went back to them and their jaws dropped because they realized that was connected, you know? Mm. And so that's when they went into cover-up mode. And they've been covering up facts in the case ever since. Because in 1981, when they realized all these other attempted abductions, the composites all match the Hollywood Mall, that should have immediately dismissed James Campbell. But instead, they were dismissing all these other attempted abductions, and even the police chiefs that were calling them and telling them this is related. It's too much of a coincidence that everything is matching. And they were being dismissed as well as all the witnesses that kept calling in. We had witnesses call in from the Twin City Mall, South Beach, Deerfield Beach, Plantation, other attempted abductions, as well as the site where Adam's severed head was found. 4 witnesses called in. There was a blue van at that site as well.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, one witness actually saw the blue van pulled over on the side of the turnpike, the Florida Turnpike, and there was a white male down by this little footbridge that took something round, this is his quote, round out of a white bucket and threw it into the water. He called the Hollywood Police Department when they found the severed head and realized that he remembered he saw somebody there on August 7th. The head was found on August 10th, so 3 days before that. And they told him, yeah, we already know about the blue van. It has nothing to do with the Adam Walsh case. See, they kept dismissing everything back in 1981.
Wow.
That's why John Walsh wrote his book, Tears of Rage. Out of the rage is because of the Hollywood Police Department. He called them in his book a bunch of stumbling, bumbling idiots.
Wow.
And then he ends up hiring one of them as the lead senior investigator on his show. Because he figured that was the only one that wasn't an idiot, because he's the one that did the polygraph test. So he did the Walsh family and John Walsh's friend, James Campbell, and eliminated them all as possible suspects. So John Walsh considered him to be, one of the better of the lot of detectives. So he ended up hiring him. But he was actually the worst one of all.
Did you have a lawsuit against them?
I did. I'm planning on having another one, too, because I want a lawsuit that'll go before a jury, a civil lawsuit, because my last lawsuit went before a judge, and you can't win down here because of political expediency. Because I sued Joe Matthews, and Joe Matthews went and hired Tom Panzer as his attorney. Tom Panzer is one of the biggest lobbyists down here. He donates money to the judges. And in Florida, they have a law that you can only donate $500 because of political expediency, but he gets around the law by donating his $500. His wife donates $500. His 6-year-old daughter donates $500. His wife's business donates $500. His even younger son donates $500, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
And so he donates to these judges, and when he gets cases before them, it's very difficult to win.
Wow. We need donations like that.
Yeah, right?
Wow, right? It must be nice. God damn.
I have a question. I'm actually just really curious of if you were ever to prove that it really was Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, what would you hope would come of that?
Well, I don't want to talk too much about that because I do plan on filing some more lawsuits. I would like this to go before a grand jury and have them compare my book to Joe Matthews' book, Bringing Adam Home. That's his book that he wrote about the case, how it was Otis Toole that did it. And everything in there is completely fabricated. He never called not one witness. He makes up witnesses. His witnesses are Otis Toole's cellmates. Those are his witnesses. And they would say things like, yeah, well, everybody in prison knows he did it.
Right.
Those are his kinds of witnesses, and a couple of witnesses that he has down here, they're not even genuine witnesses that he just uses. But I've contacted all the witnesses, the real witnesses that were actually there in the mall. So.
All right, we're actually gonna have to wrap this up. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes. You can find me on Facebook, Frustrated Witness. I have a website called frustratedwitness.com, and actually that's all you need, frustratedwitness.com. From there you can link onto to the Facebook page. You can go to my other website, Justice for Adam, where I have all the case files. The Hollywood case files, FBI, everything to do with Jeffrey Dahmer, the state attorney's case files. All the records are there. And I put them there because in my book I constantly reference the records. So now you can actually go there, download them, and read things for yourself, the records, and cross-check everything if you want.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So, yeah, just go to frustratedwitness.com, and I accept likes on my Facebook page. If anybody wants to give the page a like, I'd appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, have a good one, man.
All right, take care.
You too.